Hey guys, it's Jessie. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video, and welcome to the start of the end of the end of year content. Today I am going to be chatting to you guys about my favourite books of 2023. So these are my top 10 books. It's not definitive because I do think this could chop and change a little bit. A different day I could pick a different book, but I'd say my top 2 are pretty solid, and then kind of like the top 2 to 5 or 6 maybe could interchange on different days, and then like the bottom half of that could definitely be swapped out for some of the honourable mentions here. So we've got a bunch of different books, and I do want to just preface this by saying, like, I rate based off personal enjoyment. I would say objectively a couple of the books in my honourable mentions section are like objectively, critically, like better literature than other books that have made the top 10, but this is my personal enjoyment, how much I enjoyed it, etc, etc. You can see on my favourite shelf, which is this one here, it's been stripped bare because I've got a lot of these books in front of me. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get straight into it. I love all these books. These are all very high recommendations, obviously. I don't think you'll be surprised if you watch my channel frequently to see some of these books here. So first things first, let's get to some honourable mentions. These didn't quite make the cut, but like could potentially be, you know, around 11, 12, 9, 10 spaces, like on different days. Firstly, Grady Hendrix. I'm pretty sure I've read all of Grady Hendrix's backlist now this year, like all of his releases. I started with Final Girl Support Group, which was the first book I read from him in January, and I absolutely adored this one. This was a 5-star. I think all of these are 5-star. Some of these maybe like 4.75, but like they're 5-star. I kind of binged this. I absolutely loved it. I read it in like my little winter reading vlog, and I really enjoyed this. I could not put it down. And then I delved further into his backlist and pretty much read everything he's published. And also Horror Store was another favourite for me. This one is so camp and so fun. It's my favourite from him, I think. Yeah, I probably would say it's my favourite from him. This is probably his least popular. I just love how camp, it's so fun, it's so dramatic, like I couldn't put it down. And like, guys, it's laid out like an IKEA manual. Is that not absolutely hilarious? I adore it. So this was such a fun read. I really enjoyed that as well. Also, as always, we have Ali Hazelwood. She is a favourite romance author for me, and yeah, Love Theoretically was her release this year. I'm so excited to read what she puts out next year, and Checkmate as well. Definitely a honourable mention to Love Theoretically. I think personally this is her best work yet. Haven't read Checkmate, but in my personal opinion. Then we have the only non-fiction on this list. I don't read a lot of non-fiction. This one is Beaten Up because I took it to Costa Rica with me, and I read it on the beach. I read it in the airport. As you can see, she's well loved. She's got like marks all up the side, like she sits like sideways on my shelf, so you can only see this, but yeah, she is adored. But this was Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. I really enjoyed this. I read like the second half of this all in one sitting. I mean, as you can tell, I read this part on the beach, and then the second half I literally read all in one sitting while I was waiting for my such a long journey. I don't even want to talk about it, but like my plane was delayed so much, and I read all of this. I had a super fun time with this, and I love the writing, I love the storytelling, I love the overall message, and yeah, this was like heart-wrenching but also just like incredible and uplifting at the same time. I really loved it, so this was a fab one too. And then again, this is the one I'm like, this is definitely objectively better than a lot of these books, but for me personally it doesn't just quite make the list in terms of enjoyment, I guess, and that is Babel by R.F. Kuang. I feel so wrong putting certain books above this, but this is the last of my honourable mentions. I absolutely adore this one. 5 stars. I thought it was absolutely incredible. The way it discusses colonialism through kind of more of a fantastical lens, I thought was excellent. I loved just like everything about this book. It was heart-wrenching, it was so like moving, it was just like, it's like literature. Like I genuinely think that in 20-30 years this is going to be up there with like Handmaid's Tale, you know, modern classic type of vibes. So yeah, I absolutely adored this one. This was just incredible. It's like a feat, and I am constantly amazed by R.F. Kuang's brilliance. Incredible book. So now getting into my personal top 10, this is just like enjoyment vibes. Like some of these I'm like, girl, like why are these in your top 10 books of the year? Like maybe we should be reading classics. And I also look at it and I'm like, these just books make me so happy. Okay, so in 10th place we actually have my first read of the year, which is True Crime Story by Joseph Knox. This is a mystery thriller about a girl who goes missing in her first term at uni, and what I love about this is it is mixed media. I mean, it's mainly interviews rather than like fully mixed media, but yeah, you get interviews with all of the different characters, her ex-boyfriend, friends, parents, sister. Like there's a lot of drama going on, and yeah, I just loved this book. And yeah, it's absolutely incredible. The kind of author is a character within the book as well, which is so fun. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. The twist in this, I was like gasping out loud. It really caught me off guard, and I thought it was such an excellently done twist. It's one of my favourite twists. I talk about like one of my favourite twists quite a lot. There are multiple twists that are like in my favourite twists, if that makes sense. So don't worry that if I've said that about another book that it also applies to this book. That doesn't necessarily apply. Like, it's just one of my favourite twists in here, and like it gets me every time. I love it. So I really enjoyed this one. Then we have kind of a bit more of an unpopular one. This is Once More with Feeling by Lisa Sussman. I also would like to give a shout out to Funny You Should Ask by Lisa Sussman, which I also loved. And yeah, I absolutely adored this. This is like, it's like fan fiction. It's everything I want in a romance. I absolutely adored it. So it follows a little bit of a then and now timeline, but it's very much focused on the now. You have Katie Rose, who's kind of like Taylor Swift vibes, and then you have Cal Kirkby, who is in Crush Zone, which is like One Direction pretty much. And I absolutely adored this one. I thought it was so much fun, and I just love the vibes. Like, they were touring together and then didn't speak for like 10 years, and now they are back doing a play together. She's trying to like revive her reputation and stuff, and yeah, I just absolutely ate this up. I love Lisa Sussman's writing. I know some people don't enjoy it. There's a certain trope in here that you can tell what it is from the blurb. So I would say if you don't enjoy that within a book, like, don't go into this one because you won't like it. It's definitely a part of the book, but it didn't bother me. I did like the way that everything turned out, and I kept thinking about these characters after I read it, and I just like sat and binged the whole second half of it. Like, I absolutely adored this one. I thought it was a really great read. So please, if you have heard bad reviews, do not let it put you off, because I absolutely adored it. And also the cover is just stunning. I absolutely adored it. So this is a fab one. Then we have another romance, that is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. Of course, this book is incredible. I love this. This is more like a fun romance. This one feels a little bit more mature, a little bit like more respected, I guess. Also a shout out to Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez that I also read this year and loved. This is basically following Alexis and Daniel. Daniel's like small town mayor of this like really quaint little rural town, and Alexis is like a hotshot doctor who is like about to inherit like the family legacy because they like own the hospital and stuff. She's 10 years older and like just kind of grappling with getting out of an abusive relationship, so it's got a lot of important conversations in here, and I personally felt like it was handled really well. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. There's like a little age gap as well where she's older and they just have so much chemistry and stuff. There's also like a little bit of like sprinkle of like a magical element in here, like just like a literal sprinkle, but I thought it was so cute and I really enjoyed this one. Again, this is another one that I couldn't put down. I thought it was such a wholesome romance. Daniel in here is such a sweetheart. It literally made me cry at one point with him. I just thought he was like genuinely so kind-hearted, and that's what I really like in male protagonists. I'm quite sick, to be honest, personally, of seeing just like grumpy men and they're just not nice to people and they're only nice to the heroines sometimes, and it's just not what I want to read about. I want to read about like genuinely lovely men and them falling in love and finding happiness. That's what I want in a romance. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was absolutely fab. Then another one that I have loved near the start of the year. I will say one thing for me, like recency bias is a massive issue for me. Like, I will much prefer a book that I read yesterday than one I read like 8 months ago, even if like the levels of enjoyment is the same. Like, in my mind I will have preferred it more. So this one's probably slipped down the ranks a little bit. I remember when I read it I was like, this might be my new favourite book ever, and now it's in what, 7th place, but I still really love it. That is The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. This is such an adorable cozy fantasy book, just like so cute. This man, who's kind of like very much corporate guy, is sent to this magical orphanage to kind of like inspect it, check everything's running okay, and the children in the orphanage, there's the Antichrist, there's like a little like gnomey girl, there's just like a kind of monster type person. They are so cute. The fan family in this is incredible. It's so wholesome, it's so cozy. For me, it felt like almost nostalgic, like a children's movie but in like a adult format, if that makes sense. And yeah, I had an excellent time with this. It made me so happy and it was adorable. And yeah, the Chancery, I believe that's what he's called in this, one of the kids, is just so adorable. I'm obsessed with him and it's just so cute. I absolutely adore it, and the cover as well is stunning. Next up we have a little bit of a controversial one. I know people kind of like love or hate this one. I loved it, and that is If We Were Villains by ML Rio. This was my first ever dark academia type book, unless you'd include Babel, I guess, but I ate this up. I absolutely adored this one. I can't quite put a pinpoint, like a pin in what I absolutely loved about it. I think it was like the vibes, the atmosphere that was created. This was incredible. I've heard it's a rip-off of The Secret History, which I personally haven't read yet. I'm interested in reading, so I mean, once I get around to it I will let you guys know what I think about that. But we are basically following a group of Shakespeare theatre students who are obsessed, like they're obsessed with Shakespeare. They'll quote it to each other, and we are following along as one of them has just been released from prison 10 years after the main storyline is occurring for the death of another person within the group. And you're basically kind of going back, he's telling the story of like whether it was him or not, what actually happened, and it's really excellent. I just love the vibes of this. I will say you don't have to know a lot about Shakespeare. I know the plot of like Macbeth, Midsummer Night's Dream and The Tempest. That's pretty much it, and I had no issues with it. Like, it's not vital to the plot that you know Shakespeare, but like reading this made me be like, I want to read all the Shakespeare plays. Like, I want to be in there, I want to have this like obsession. But yeah, I really love this, and it kind of inspired my love of dark academia, which I'm super excited to kind of delve a bit more into in the new year. So now going into my top 5 books of 2023. Number 5 is Bear Town by Frederick Buckman. This book is incredible. This was my first introduction to Frederick Buckman's writing, and oh my goodness, no words. This is such a beautiful, heartfelt book. It definitely kind of tackles some harder issues in here, but we are basically following a bunch of different characters in this Swedish hockey town where they're like obsessed with hockey, and something happens that kind of divides the town, splits opinion, and it's all kind of like about taking sides and things like that and who to believe. And it's just an excellent book. The thing I think Frederick Buckman does incredibly is his characterization. These characters feel so real. I definitely think it can be a little bit overwhelming at the start, like having so many different people that you're following, but by the end of the book you feel like you know these people so well. The way he writes is just incredible. Not only does it like really cut to like the core of humanity, but like there's little bits of like repetition and things like that. Like, he'll start the chapter with the same sentence that he'll end it with, and it will come all full circle, and it will be like just incredible. I adored it so much. Like, I cannot put into words the writing in here and just how it made me feel. I cannot wait to give this a reread. This is definitely very much up there for a reread. I think this whole top 5 are books that I would really want to reread soon. So in 4th place we have probably one that I think is going to be in a lot of people's top 10s, and that is Happy Place by Emily Henry. I read this over the summer and absolutely adored it. Also, look at the very pretty sprayed edges. I love Emily Henry's books, but this I think personally is her best work yet. In this one we are following Quinn and Harriet. That's not his name. Wyn and Harriet, as they are going on a kind of last group holiday with their friends, and they have recently broken up, and they're trying to kind of keep it a secret from their friends so that they can all like have a nice holiday together. And I love this. This felt like a much more heartfelt romance. It's a bit more deep, like kind of more so like Part of Your World than Once More We're Feeling. No cake to either of those. It was just incredible. This I felt like was like such a raw and real portrayal of a relationship, which we sometimes don't see in romance books. The banter between these characters was amazing. The kind of like discussions of friendships in your 20s and stuff I really enjoyed as well. There's a really strong kind of found family, I guess. I don't know if you could really say that for one singular romance book, but like the friendships between these people are so strong, and the characters felt very complex, very well developed, and overall I just absolutely adored it. And yeah, so it's like a second chance type of romance. Just incredible. I mean, everyone's read it, but like if you haven't, read Happy Place. Okay, so then in 3rd place, this is kind of representative of the series as a whole, because I read this series in like March, April time, and just like binged it. I was obsessed, and this is definitely my favourite in the series, and that is Daisy Hates the Great Undoing, which is the 4th book in the Magnolia Parks series. So it goes Magnolia Parks, Daisy Hates, Magnolia Parks The Long Way Home, and then Daisy Hates the Great Undoing. Firstly, a moment for the covers. They're all stunning. I picked up these books after reading them on my Kindle. That's how much I enjoyed them. All of them bar one was a 5-star for me. I thought they were absolutely incredible. Some of the quotes in this book I can't wait to reread, because I need to like be able to tab and underline so I can actually reach them easily. Oh my god, there's a quote from this that I literally want tattooed on my body. It's absolutely incredible. Julian Hates in this book, oh my god, what a man. What a man. And also Christian and Daisy are just like my favourite book couple from the Magnolia Parks universe. So yeah, this is definitely kind of more representative of the series as a whole, but this specific book I think fits quite nicely in this place. I cannot wait to reread them, and I cannot wait to read the new Magnolia Parks book that's coming out next year. These are full of drama. You're basically following toxic couples. Magnolia Parks is about Magnolia and BJ, who are like on again, off again. They're kind of like rich London society. This one is Daisy and Christian. Daisy's in kind of like a gang type family. It's definitely a bit rougher. They kind of do deal in like art theft and stuff, so it's kind of a little bit of a darker side than Magnolia Parks, but an excellent book. I absolutely adored it. So now we are on to the top 2. If you guys have watched my Goodreads Choice Awards vlog, which I'll link in the cards if you haven't, you will have heard me speak about this. In second place, this is a new favourite for me, is Bright Young Women by Jessica Null. I adored this book so much. It made me cry at multiple points. This is a work of art. This is literature. I adored it so much. In this, you are basically mainly following Pamela, but also a little bit Tina and Ruth. Pamela is the head of a sorority where a serial killer broke in and attacked 2 girls and killed 2 others, and this is basically kind of based on Ted Bundy pretty much, but it's very much a anti-true crime, anti like memorializing, anti, I don't know, idolizing serial killers type of book. I think it critiques true crime really well and really interestingly. We also meet Tina, who believes that a girl that she knew was also a victim of the serial killer, and we're kind of talking about that. We're talking about misogyny, homophobia, all that stuff kind of in the 80s, and just kind of like the building up of a killer kind of in the cultural world to kind of make up for the incompetence of like the police and everything like that. And it's just a really incredible book. I really don't feel like I've described it and pitched it well enough, but this is absolutely excellent. It was so heartfelt and it felt so real, obviously because it's based on a true story, and just like it made me cry, as I said before, and I think it was actually a masterpiece. I really want to reread this one like immediately, even though I only read it last month, but this is actually such an incredible book and I would really highly recommend it. Like, I had no expectations going into it and I'm so glad I picked it up, so glad I got this gorgeous hardcover. Firstly, again, the cover, stunning, and yeah, this is like one of my strongest recommendations from this year as a whole. I thought it was absolutely excellent. The writing in here as well, like just the quality of it is incredible, and yeah, I could not recommend this one enough. So finally, we have come around to my favourite book of 2023. Any guesses? I feel like if you guys know me, if you've watched the channel, you know which one I'm going to pick. This is part of a series that I started reading this year. I read the whole series this year and I absolutely fell in love with it. The characters in here are absolutely incredible. I adore them so much with like my whole heart. And obviously my favourite book of the year is The Last Devil to Die by Richard Osman. This is the 4th book in the Thursday Murder Club series, where we're following a bunch of people in a retirement home, 4 main friends plus a bunch of side characters, where they are investigating murders and kind of going into like spy stuff as well, more so in this book, and yeah, absolutely incredible. Also, look at the gorgeous little edition I have. Such a cute little fox book. Fox. Oh, this book is so emotional. Definitely the best in the series and the most emotional in the series. There are some absolutely devastating scenes and lines in this book, because obviously the characters are old, so they have a lot to say about like life in general, kind of dying, and even more so than that, just living, and I think this is an absolutely incredible story, along with a genuinely very interesting mystery too. I think Richard Osman is actually an incredible writer. He's generally very funny, very witty. I feel like this really encapsulates like British humour as well, and so many things. Like, it's based very much near where I live, so they're like referencing specific areas that I've literally been to. Like, the people in these books like are such quintessential kind of like a British people. Like, it's very much a cultural book. I don't think you'd have an issue with it like if you weren't from Britain. I have heard that the audiobooks have helped, like in certain like ways jokes are said and lines are said. But yeah, an absolutely exceptional book, and yeah, like without a doubt my favourite of the year. I was kind of debating in my Goodreads Choice Awards video what books to vote for, and I ended up voting for Bright Young Women, just because I kind of thought wrongly that this had a chance to win it, and I thought like that doesn't need my support, but yeah, like objectively this is the best book. I absolutely adore it. Like, please read this series. It is incredible. Okay, so that is it. Those are my 10 favourite books plus some honourable mentions of 2023. Guys, please, I beg and I pray, read these books. These books are so good, all of them, and there's so many other excellent reads that I had this year that didn't quite make the list, but I will be doing like a full 2023 recap. I'll be going through all the books I've read. There is over 150 at the moment, and yeah, there's still plenty more videos to come, so I'm really worried that I'm going to read a book in the next 2 weeks that is a favourite, but we'll just have to cross that bridge when we come to it. You know, so yeah, definitely the top 10 I'd recommend so much. The top 5, just I beg, read. I mean, Daisy Hates is like a Marmite type of book, but the rest of them are incredible. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, don't forget to give it a like down below, hit subscribe and turn the bell to a little clap, and make sure you turn on all notifications, then you'll be notified every single time I post a new video. And if you want to watch one of my other videos, there'll be 2 on the screen now to pick from, as well as they linked up in the cards from earlier. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!